Charlie 5, everything wrong with Mario Bros. 2, and there's no Xbox in sight. What is in my notifications? Okay then. Alright, let's see what happens.
The story we're presented with in the opening blurb is that Mario climbed a long staircase in his dreams and heard cries for help, begging to be freed, and once he awoke, he went to a nearby cave and discovered that what he saw in his dreams was real. But why did he go to the cave? What, if anything, compelled him to go to a random cave at all? He didn't just dismiss the cries for help after waking up? Obligatory, did you know? This game is essentially an updated skin swap of another Nintendo game.
Here we go.
Developed in collaboration with Fuji TV, originally known as Yume Kojo Doki Doki Panic for us Westerners, because apparently the original sequel to the first game gives us post-traumatic memory loss, but I'm curious as to why, mechanically, they thought this would be any better.
Oh, that makes sense.
Like, I know Doki Doki Panic was developed as a Super Mario game internally before the licensing agreement with Fuji TV, but where I think that the Lost Levels fails as a sequel in that its story is the exact same as the first Super Mario Bros., the reason I think this one fails as a sequel is because the gameplay is way different than the first games. And I'm no stranger to the fact that sometimes sequels reinvent the formula, but almost nothing from the first game is present in this one. Jumping on enemies doesn't defeat them, you now have to use items that you dig up to do that. There are no blocks to hit, the coins are now only collected in secret areas and they're used for a slot machine minigame at the end of levels. You now have hit points instead of power-up states, and there's no timer or score system. Really, the only thing that makes this feel like a Super Mario game is the fact that you can run and you can jump.
So just an average
the more I
platformer.
think about it, as a mini-boss, Birdo's pretty poorly designed. Up until now, we've been taught that not only can we pick up enemies, which we can't do with Birdo, but the only thing that can hit an enemy is tossing something else into said enemy. And yeah, given that there's nothing around for us to pick up from the ground and throw, I guess we would eventually conclude that we need to use the eggs, but you can't fault me if my first instinct isn't to immediately hop on top of a projectile thrown by the enemy. Bonus chance is a weird one because you're never exactly told what it is you're aiming for. You would think that getting 3 of anything would yield positive results, and it does, netting you an extra life, but unless you have the manual, nothing tells you that the more cherries you get, the more extra lives you get. What's also hidden in the manual is that the cherries can't just be in any slot. They have to be in the leftmost slot to count. Cherry sniff at Starman? That's an extra life. Starman sniff at Cherry? You get nothing. Cherry turnip? That's 2 extra lives. Turnip cherry? You lose. Good day, sir. And
damn.
Maybe it's just me, but why only the cherries? Literally no other icon works this way. In the main game, every 5 cherries you collect make a Starman spawn, but getting 2 Starmen in a row in the bonus chance doesn't get you any extra lives. If I need 5 of something to get 1 of something else, doesn't that make the one thing more valuable? The only enemy, technically, that returns in this game is the Red Koopa. I say technically because really it's just the shell. But why exactly am I plucking a Koopa shell of all things from the ground? I guess it's better than what it was originally due to it being racially problematic, to put it gently. Also, to add to the weird mechanics they changed in the sequel, I just learned that you can't get hurt by the shells, which was a huge thing in the first game. Wait, you're telling me that the inside of this tall-ass pot is the exact same on the inside as all the other way shorter pots I've gone in? I'm not supposed to be able to do this. I don't know why you would, but you can. We interrupt Super Mario Bros. 2 to bring you the Bubble Man stage for Mega Man 2. Something that annoys me about the magic potions is that there's not always a good indicator of where to use it. Usually, you'll want to spawn a door near where there are a bunch of items to pluck so that you can get a bunch of coins, but if you're looking for a mushroom to get an extra hit point, good luck, because there's nothing to point you in their direction. What the... Can I not escape that blue rat even when I'm playing the Red Plumber games? You've no doubt noticed that I've been using Princess Toadstool throughout my playthrough, and it's because, casually, she's the best character. I mean, literally, she is the worst character, having the lowest strength stat, which, fucking who cares? The lowest speed stat, which, okay. And the second worst jump, and I gotta be honest, the only character that can't seem to make most of these jumps without charging at first is Toad, so even that doesn't mean a whole lot to me. Luigi jumps the highest, Toad is the fastest, and Mario is just a guy. The princess can at least hover momentarily, making her the preferable choice in a platformer, but you expect me to believe that Mario is technically the better choice? As far as I'm concerned, this isn't Super Mario Bros. 2, this is the very first Peach game. We interrupt Super Mario Bros. 2 to bring you the Quick Man stage for Mega Man 2. Also, are you kidding me, dude? I have just barely enough time to react to what's below me when the screen scrolls, but how am I supposed to know where I need to land? So, because of this game's vertical platforming system compared to the first game's horizontal one, you can move around one side of the screen to the other in certain areas, which not only makes no physical sense, but I didn't realize we were also playing Kid Icarus. This having to guess which pot to go down shit in World 6-1 sucks. I have to go into each one and leave until I find the right one, meaning I have to deal with the dumbass Cobrats respawning each time. You know, if you've answered any of my questions or have already typed in the comments, well, because it's all a dream, they're in a dream world, then why would part of their dream be fighting the same facehole creature 15 times, except this time she's green, or this time she doesn't spit out eggs? At the beginning of World 6-3, there's this mega obvious shortcut to the end of the stage. Why even design the level if you're just gonna put the shortcut to the end at the very beginning? There's a time-stopping item? How did it... Is it just there? Why haven't I found one before? So, as you can see, this is the last level in the game, but that's weird, right? Every other world is at
45 minutes
as opposed
in.
to 2, something else in which it differs from the first game. Well, the reason, again, lies in Doki Doki Panic. Despite Yume Kojo roughly translating to Dream Machine, the story of that game, ironically enough, doesn't take place in a dream world like Mario 2 does. Instead, the protagonists of that game are in a sort of Sonic and the Secret Ring situation where the main antagonist from a storybook gets unleashed and drags a pair of children into his world. Each world in Mario 2 is called a chapter in Doki Doki Panic, and the title cards for each level are just cropped versions of the original's storybook pages. The reason there are only 2 levels in the final world is because the final page of the book got torn out, which is how the antagonist was able to drag the children into the storybook in the first place. But since none of those elements were carried over into the Super Mario version, it having one less level doesn't exactly make any sense. Especially when you consider that they could have just made another level to fill in the gap. I mean, we got a whole new boss in this version, Claw Grip, the one you fight in World 5-3. I can't imagine they wouldn't have had the time to develop one more level. Ah! This is just cruel! Why would you trick me with the mask gate like this? Where you fight Wart, the game's main antagonist and final boss, actually just made sense to me too. You fight him next to a machine that produces vegetables that you have to catch and throw at him when his mouth is open. In the original Doki Doki Panic, Wart was named Mamu, and he invaded the land of the Mu, who used a dream machine to ensure that their good dreams would yield good weather the next day, hence Yume Kojo, Dream Machine. When Mamu invaded, he used the Dream Machine to create nightmare creatures to take over the land. The Mu learned that Mamu had a weakness to vegetables, however, which explains why you find so many different kinds throughout the game. The Mu used them to defeat Mamu. Because of the aforementioned last page being ripped out, Mamu was never defeated, and so I'm guessing this is right before that moment. What isn't clear to me is if they mass-produced the vegetables the same way they did the good dreams and nightmare creatures, by using the Dream Machine. If so, it would make sense why it's here. Unfortunately, because Mario 2 never mentions any of this, it makes Wart look like a dumbass for having a machine in his lair that's constantly spitting out his one weakness.
Yeah.
Wait, what? But I thought that the thing was all real. Like, it started in his dreams, but then turned out that it was real, right? And sure, it could have happened in a dream world, but if this Mario just helped save the dream world, how is he both there and asleep? I believe we call that X now, or whatever the space incel with 12 kids is calling it. Don't say it, don't say it, don't. You're a grown-ass man now, you pay taxes, you have a child now, they might see this one day, you're better than this. Subcon these nuts! Whoa. That's not Birdo. That's Birdo. How did they f these names up in the credits? That's obviously an Ostorich. Which, to be fair, is a Birdo. Man, f you, game. You know, I always wondered why the Autobomb had an M on it, and now I see what the problem is.
I heard Autobomb and I thought of...
when they should have
I heard Autobomb and I thought of Splatoon. God damn it.
It's first grade, Nintendo. Claw Glip? You mean Claw Grip? How did your translators mess that up? Unless your source was World War II veterans bombing a bridge, glip isn't a word. So, apparently this is a typo too? It's not triclide as in 3, but triclide as in attempt? And I'm sorry, but I just think that's wrong. It has 3 heads. It should be try with an I. The curse Wart has put on you in the real world.
That reminds me of something. So for context, Splatoon 3 has this weapon called the Tri-Slosher. And again, it's Tri-Slosher, but for some reason, in order to kill, it takes 2 shots. Why name it Tri-Slosher when it doesn't use 3 shots to kill? What's the point? What are the rules? I just said that while reacting to Troy 5. God damn it.
World will not have any effect upon you here. The curse Wart has put on me? How does he know I exist? We're in two completely different worlds and have never met before. And also, what curse? You just say he put one on me, but don't elaborate on what the curse is, what it does, or why. Toad has the least jumping power, but since he has lifting power, the height he can jump and the speed he can run does not change even if he is carrying an item. That is incorrect. I actually just learned this today, in fact. Toad's speed does change when carrying an item, except that, unlike the other characters, he doesn't slow down. He actually gets faster. Why did you make two separate paragraphs to explain the order of speed and strength when the order from slowest to fastest and weakest to strongest is the same? Princess Toadstool, Luigi, Mario, and then Toad. You didn't need two separate paragraphs for that.
Yeah.
Okay, in the Lost Levels, I can at least understand the logic behind the semantics between continue and retry.
What's Lost
Levels? This
Levels?
was specifically released for English-speaking audiences, so again, how can anybody reasonably deduce that retry in this context means reattempt the game from the very beginning and not retry the last thing you did? Wait, is that how I got the stopwatch? Because I would have... That doesn't... that doesn't make sense. Why would I... A, how would I know? A, how would I know where a ripe vegetable is? And B, how would I know that pulling 5 of them out is what causes the stopwatch to appear? What? The grass in subspace will turn into coins until you use magic twice in that area. If you place a door in a certain place, there will be a heart that will increase your life meter. You mean a mushroom? You literally just told me that in the last page. Birdo sometimes has the crystal ball, so get it back by defeating her. At the end of each world, the boss is waiting for you
Her, when it says him.
Again? What do you mean again? Wouldn't I be meeting some of these bosses for the first time? And if you mean Birdo, are you meaning to imply that I'm fighting the same Birdo during every encounter? Because their attack patterns change depending on the color we fight, so I doubt that's true. Ninja 1. He is a little devil who appears in the dreams of NES players. He moves fast and will persistently chase you. Well, that's ominous. You gotta drag the players into this. Why can't Ninja just haunt someone from Mario's world? Hold on. That's the original Phantos sprite, the one from Doki Doki Panic, not the revised one from this game. Trouter. It's a fish which lives in the world of dreams. You'll find it in waterfalls and rivers. He interferes with Mario.
What?
Well, yeah. All of
as I say.
That's kind of the point. Pidgeot doesn't have the etymological origin I think it does, right? At least, I hope it doesn't. I mean, it's a bird so tiny it can't fly, so it must be a portmanteau of the words pigeon and the derogatory term for people with dwarfism. The wiki suggests it might also be pigeon and idjit, which is slang for idiot, but come on, we all know that's not where its name came from. Ostro, he serves as a means of transportation in the world of dreams. Shy guys often ride him. Whoa, hey man, whatever you guys want to get up to in your private lives is y'all's business. I don't need to be knowing
Don't
about
like he and I have the same reaction.
Okay? Birdo, he thinks he's a girl, so what I'm hearing is she's a girl. She'd rather be called Birdetta. You know what I think is really f***ed up, especially in hindsight? We've known for almost... Jesus Christ, 40 years, that this character would rather be called something else because the name Birdo is implicitly male, and yet despite this manual, the one we see in Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga wanting to be called Birdie, and the fact that Nintendo themselves acknowledge the character is female, we're still dead-naming her. I mean, goddamn, even in Japanese, they refer to her by her preferred name, Catherine. Sure, they're still misgendering her, but at least they're using the name she'd rather be called. Claw Grip. He grows suddenly and is surprisingly good at throwing rocks.
Good point.
Does he grow suddenly? As far as I know, all he does is throw rocks. Wart, he is the most mischievous of all in the world of dreams. He created monsters by playing with the Dream Machine. Okay, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is another leftover from Yume Kojo, but aside from, I guess, the auto bomb, there is no other mention of a Dream Machine anywhere in the game or in this manual. What is the Dream Machine? What does it do? Considering that Subcon is the world of dreams and its inhabitants know that, wouldn't it just be called a machine?
Damn. Very cursed nightmare.
Hey everyone, Charai5 here. Thank you so much for watching my CinemaSins pastiche of everything wrong with Super Mario Bros. 2, also known as Super Mario Bros. USA in Japan. Out of all the retro Mario games, out of the first, 4, I'd say, this is the one that I probably had the least experience with. I've played it a little bit, but not as much as I've played the other ones. But having fully played it now, I did have a really good time with it. I think it's a very charming game. I think that graphically it's very impressive. And I love that to this day, like, the characters' movesets have sort of carried on from this moment in time.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with it. I'd love to know what you guys think of this game as well. What experiences you guys have? Is this your
Yeah,
favorite
there's the
game? Do you not
incision.
like it as
Is
much?
Emmy.
That is the question of the video. On screen, you
Emmy
are
and
seeing
Greg
names
had
of the
a
wonderful
very
patrons
cute.
and channel members that decide to
And
contribute monthly to this channel. If you would like to see
Greg.
your name alongside them, you can do so by hitting the link in the description
My
or heading
boy,
down
my
to the
goat.
join button underneath this video. Any little bit helps, and if you can't or you don't want to, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, telling a friend that you think might like this, every little bit helps. And I really do appreciate it. But until next time, guys, I will see you in the next video. Stay safe,
That was really
stay
good.
awesome. This is Charai5, signing off.
That was really good. Okay, I got
Stay
okay.
awesome.
Just I gotta ask. This is totally just a meeting. I'm a very big background like observer. I'm noticing that the shelves change after like every video. At least I think so, because I'm pretty sure that the Sonic shelf has always been the same. But I don't. I think these two have always been kind of different. I mean, I know that the Kirby has always been there, but I don't know. Is that something that he does? Does he always change up the game's placement, or just what happens on the shelf in the background just for funsies? I don't know. Also, my dude, I'm sorry. Why do you gotta sort them horizontally? Or whatever. But yeah, that was the everything wrong with on Mario Bros. 2. Mario Bros. All-Stars was the first game I owned. If my memory is correct, I enjoyed playing the game. Nice. Where is... Where are the... There we go. There we go. There they are. That's great. Yeah, I saw that in the Discord, and I was like, yes, I support. Does Striker leave a comment? Okay, I guess I'm not seeing I'm not seeing Strike's comment yet, but still. Damn. But yeah, check it out. Obviously I'll put it in the description and whatnot because I'm not that much of a dick. And yeah. Bye.